Alright guys, welcome to the live. I'm not going to be as late as I wanted to be in terms of reading tonight because this look took way longer than I anticipated, so that's okay. Welcome to Friday, welcome to your weekend. I am playing, I'm going to say as like Mary Jane slash female version of Spider-Man, right? So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to be reading Civil War. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend so far. It is Friday leading into Saturday. I guess it's already Saturday now, right? I hope you guys are beautiful. Let me just mirror it back. All right. I love it. All right. So if we're not familiar, hi, Adam Knight. Welcome. I'm going to bring down the light a little bit so it's a little more mood lighting. That's better. Get the mood all nice in here, right? So I did the whole face paint makeup thing to do my Spider-Woman mask, and I was like, is that what this means? No, I don't want to jinx it either too, Pokey. I'm not exactly a spring chicken, and I do that's coming down the pipe, but not just yet. Adam, I really like your name, Adam Knight. Affinity for knights in general. Okay, John McNary, Dandy Moneyman. Oh my gosh, the crew is all here. So thank you. I spent some time doing some like my face makeup today, and I got my butt handed to me about how hard it actually was to do. Thank you. And I was like playing with it in terms of like whether to do it or not, because I haven't done this version before. So shout out to the chickie who did this version first, because I borrowed from her a lot. So tonight, it is bound to happen. I hope so, Pokey. Knock on wood. So we're going to be, I wanted to read you guys the conclusion to this story, which I started as Mary Jane, and then I continued on a little bit as Captain America. And so I wanted to read it because I felt in the universe that this is a story we needed to really hear. But it's better than having her real. Oh, no. You know what? I've been trying to play with, like, different versions of things. So, for example, when it comes to cosplay, right? There's the different versions of the and Kavanaugh, thank you for all the roses. Happy Saturday, Mr. Nude. Hee love it. It is paint. It is face paint. So, different cosplayers will have. I actually spent a lot of time today using my Dremel tool, and I have a proper Nightwing mask for hubby, like that's like fitted to the face, and I got the appropriate prosthetic glue for all my stuff. So yeah, I'm not really Spider-Woman right now. This is not her face makeup. Spider-Woman looks, there's a very oh my goodness, what's her name again? Jessica Drew, I believe is her name. And she deserves her own thing, right? Oh, and thank you. Thank you, Edition. So, the comic book version isn't canon anymore. You know, for example, like Harley Quinn, I know that's a different universe. She was created, I think, from the animated show, and they fed that back into the comic book. So what you consider canon, I will say, you guys, I would say that is up to you, because when it comes to all universes, like my main exposure to Spider-Man was like, I think it was early 2000s, YTV had an animated version of Spider-Man. It also had crossovers, like with the Punisher, because the Punisher doesn't like Spider-Man for whatever reason. He thinks that Spider-Man's like a criminal and stuff. Pokey, that's a thing. Like, what are facts, right? Like Ms. Marvel in here, I was trying to show you guys earlier, we now have a new Ms. Marvel with her own origin story, but that doesn't negate the whole universe that birthed it in the first place. Same thing goes with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Every time the universe is remade, it's based on those characters that are redoing it. And then so when we say something is canon, what does that really mean? I guess you could say that it's the publishers or but I would say it's really up to you, because you also are, I guess, in your own storybook of life or your own way that you're parsing through these stories, or whether or not you even want to pay attention to it, right? Spider-Man's really special, I think, to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. I particularly love Spider-Man mainly because of his girls. Like, I love Mary Jane. I love Felicia Hardy, Black Cat. I love Gwen Stacy. I love, like, I do even love the new versions with Zendaya and, oh my goodness, what is that guy's name again? He's cute. But the new Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse, and also like Miles Morales, right? In that version as well. So you can't say one never existed. Once something has happened, it has always happened, right? And that's the beauty of what I think comic books get to do with timelines and multiverses and reality itself. Because what is true, right? If you haven't read a story and you've only been exposed to, let's say, a certain version, I've learned to be, I guess, more forgiving to other people who I think like the wrong versions of characters, right? Like when it comes to even Mary Jane, right? If we look at like Spider-Man, I think was one of the first movies in my purview that was like with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. It made a big splash. Like it was like, I think one of the first superhero movies that wasn't like cheesy. Well, it was cheesy, but you know what I mean? It wasn't like after Batman happened in 1989, it kind of like jumped off the cliff with Batman and Robin, right? So when we got Spider-Man, it was like, oh, before Iron Man came back, we got the Avengers and the reboot of everything. We did get the whole like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, right? And you know that there's a few things that they did actually really right, I feel like, in that, you call it a trilogy, I guess, with Spider-Man 3 with emo Peter Parker, you know. Yeah, and like it's so memeable, those movies. And I do love how, if we compare how they did the Spider-Verse versus how the DC universe handled the crossover thing, they did it so much better with like Toby and Andrew Garfield, and like it's just the different versions and how they can all still exist, and like my version of Aunt May and your version of Aunt May and that kind of thing. So Gokothan, thank you. Spider-Man 2 was the best superhero movie. I remember seeing that movie in theaters with my friends, and it was like a big deal. And I will say this, I did not like Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. I thought that was not the right exact casting, but I do think Mary Jane would be a hard one to cast. Thank you for loving my Spidey face. It took me forever to do straight. Let me see here. Even Parker, I know, Spider-Man 3, you know, let's put it this way, you guys. It's hard to end a series, right? I think of all of the things that I love, right? I don't know why this came to my head, but I don't know if you guys saw the show House, you know, like House MD, where it's like everybody lies and that kind of thing. Yeah, Lilu, it's me, Lilu, as well. Hold on a second, I need to grab. I don't have it. Oh, thanks, Tripsanow. I hope my booty wasn't showing. And causing a problem. I was also trying to put my fishnets on today with this to add a little bit more to like the webbing whole situation, but I didn't. I'm late though. I started doing my makeup maybe around like 10 my time, and then hubby was like playing like Twilight Zone and old Outer Limits. Oh, good. No worries. And thanks you guys all for joining. Let me just, and Trips now, thank you again. And yes, Jesus, I do wear contacts. I try to match my contacts with whomever I'm cosplaying at the time, to try to match it as much as possible. Because to me, like, how should I put it? The characters and how they like get put together is all just kind of also up to you as well. So if you're cosplaying a character, like there are many cosplayers that I love that do their own riffs on different cosplays. And I've like very slowly, I'm going to like build up the courage for my own like custom kind of stuff, you know, where you have like infusions, maybe like Sailor Moon with like a mech suit or something like that. Oh yeah. Khalifa, thank you. Thank you for everybody. And Adam Knight, thank you for the gift. Welcome to the comic book club. Oh yes. Yes. People tell me that all the time. So I used to be actually a big goal of mine as someone who is half Filipino was to be blonde. I wanted to be like platinum, bleach blonde. It was like a thing when I was growing up in the 90s, right? I just wanted to be like blonde bombshell, like Pamela Anderson, you know, like on Baywatch and all that kind of stuff. So, but of course, if you just box dye your hair just like that, guess what happens? Turns orange. Kind of like Lily from The Fifth Element, but not quite as even cool looking, just kind of like burnt orange. So I was on a quest for bleach blonde hair for the longest time, and I found my girl. Her name's Dorothy. She lives out in Mexico now, but she was like a hair genius. So we used to hang out at her house. She would experiment on my hair, like do all the blondes. We'd watch like 90 Day Fiance, drink wine, smoke weed. It was like the freaking best. And she would like charge me like $50. It was amazing. So I got my hair to be like blonde and stuff, right? But it killed it. It killed it completely. And so when I first started cosplaying as like Supergirl and Samus and a lot of these characters that had natural blonde hair, I was like, okay, I'm going to do those characters because they match what I have normally, because I like wigs, right? Were like a whole, like, I didn't understand them. But when my hair girl, Dorothy, was going to move away, she told me, she's like, if you want to go blonde again, come out and see me in Mexico. I'll do your hair. And I'm like, okay. But in the meantime, 90 Day Fiance is crazy. It almost never works out. I love watching all those shows, you guys. It's such a trip for me. I used to watch those old dating shows where they were like not pop-up video, but it was like pop-up video, but for like dating. Or there's just crazy shows of the dating game, all that kind of stuff. I'm here for it. I kind of love all the interactions and the relationships. It's also just why the comic book I'm going to read you guys, like, I try to go for usually comic book character cosplay. Cosplay can be anything, you guys, like, right? Video games. It can be the movie version of the character. It can just be even your custom character inspired by whatever stories that exist. Like, I mean, that's what fan fiction is and all that kind of stuff. She hated him so much. And Marco, thanks for being a rising star. And Trips, now you're the best. Thank you for all the support. So let me stop going off on my tangents, because this makeup that I did tonight for you guys, actually, was the first time me doing it. What did you say, Pokey? Wait, did I miss something? Oh, thank you. Pimpkin Star. I love Star Fox, by the way. The voting. Oh, yeah. Oh goodness. Oh, I should share it here too. I love you. Okay. So also, if you guys, I don't even have the link in my link tree yet. That's how bad I am at this stuff, you guys. So I am actually entered, Maxim magazine. So I'm in like the top, I think I'm in the top 10 or top 11 for this Maxim Cover Girl contest. You can go vote for me. I will post a little post here too if you can vote. And if I win, I get to walk the runway in Chicago and get a trip for two. There's also because I did so well so far on this, I'm entered in like the Maxim cover model search too. So I'm like, oh, I haven't modeled in a long time, but I'm more than happy to get back into it. So that's kind of like what this is all about too, because just what Pokey was saying, this isn't really true Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman is Jessica Drew. She's got a very specific look. I wish I had one of my comic books where her and Ms. Marvel do some stuff, because that's a throwback to the old comic books that I grew up reading. So there's the Ms. Marvel now, but there was Ms. Marvel, Ms. Marvel, who's half, like, who I guess is Carol Danvers, but I have to kind of cross-reference with the movies which comic books and where it kind of went off. Because also, like Psylocke, for example. Psylocke is like one of my favorite characters, and they kind of rewrote the history in terms of her being Elizabeth Braddock, who is, oh my goodness, what is his name? Captain Britain. Yes, Captain Britain's twin sister. And something happens and she ends up like switching bodies into like an Asian woman's body who's like super hot assassin lady. And I forget what her real name is, but they rewrote that. But I kind of like that idea because it brings about the point of like how it feels like to be, let's say, in a body that isn't yours. I don't know if you guys have watched the show Altered Carbon, where you have like almost like you're like a data set and like everyone's like basically immortal, but your consciousness basically gets uploaded into a new body once you're done with this body, right? And so I feel like an element of truth to that. Of course, like it's probably far more complicated, and I mean, like you could call it reincarnation, but some people like to think that, not like to think, but have the opinion that reincarnation is a trap. I like to think, my personal belief in the whole thing is that we're in soul school. Like this is like a school for souls, right? And we learn how to like play to our highest potentials here. And the character that you're playing right now, like me, Rachel Z, playing as, I'm going to call myself the female version of Peter Parker. So Pietra Parker. I actually, I support this chickie. Her name's Tracy Scopes. She makes naughty comics. You know, they're like X-rated comics. I love them so much. And she has a comic book where Peter Parker meets his female version and they like play with Mary Jane. So anyways, that's not for this. That's not, that's something else. How much? Oh, no. We have to go through the lives of the Zodiac. Oh, that's a cool idea, Cullen. You could make a book on that. You could. You are, I do astrology too. I just got like a full body tingle reading that comment. I feel like I love that. Just because the Zodiac wheel also like mirrors the wheel of time, right? And it mirrors the map of like the tarot, right? Where you go from the Fool to the World, right? And April Fool's Day is coming up too, right? So it's like this idea of like, okay, beginning, right? Like in a book, when you're reading and like when things get really dark in your story, all you got to do is keep reading, turn the page. But sometimes in our own stories, we get really stuck where it gets chaos and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even deal with this anymore. But just hold on. Keep reading. There's always more, right? Or even at the end of a book, right? That's not the end, right? And sometimes we forget that it's just like in a dream, like, oh, wait, I forgot I was on this mission. What are we doing again? What's the objective? Oh, I thought that I was supposed to just be working in corporate. No. So let's see here. So, thank you, Pokey. I appreciate you ever so much. Also, quick note, we're doing a podcast on Monday. Monday is also my little sister's birthday. March 30th is also in some people say that it's Batman's birthday. I have to get back to you guys on that. But Monday, we're going to talk a little bit about mental health. And for me, comic books and stories have been a great way to help with my mental health. Because think about it. When you feel alone out there, when you feel like you're going through something, hey, Death, you like came, like it's like World Bipolar. And yes, thank you for reminding me, it's World Bipolar Day. And it's a matter of, I think, also bringing light to things that are really hard to talk about. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to ever be able to get, let's say, help, connection, all that kind of stuff, if we don't have the bravery, the courage to speak up and say like, hey, I'm fucking struggling right now. I'm not going to pretend like I'm okay, right? I'm not going to pretend like I don't feel like maybe something is amiss in my heart and maybe I need to take some time to like reorient myself. When I was about 10 years old, I used to visit like on Fridays, which I mean, we're Friday into Saturday. There was a pool that me and my friends used to go to. It had an all ages swim that had like a DJ and like fun night lights and all that kind of stuff. So me and my friends, what grade are you in when you're 10? Anyways, we used to go. But one time when we were swimming, this larger chick, lady, well, she would be a girl, right? But she jumps off the diving board and she lands on me in the water. Is it third grade, Death? Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds right. And yes, I'm Spider Girl. Yeah, or Mary Jane. Like, if Peter is out somewhere and I'm like, all right, maybe I can go and like try to do some stuff. I think age 10 is 5th grade. Let me think back. If I was 10, because I was born in 1985, and it's fun because, oh, you are right. Yes, Gwen Stacy, you're so smart, girl. I think it is. Wait, no. Yeah, it would be grade 5. Because for me, when I was going to school, when I was in grade 1, it was 1991. When I was in grade 2, it was 1992. When I was grade 3, so I was like, I got to kind of remember that. So if I was 10, that would make it 1995. So yeah, this girl landed on me, jumped off a diving board. I was like swimming up, like, so the reason why I'm telling you this story is because when she fell on me and I was in the water, I didn't know which way was up, right? So you're in the pool, in the water, and you're like swimming. So you're like, I could just be swimming more to the bottom of the pool, right? And so it's very disorienting. Eventually, I found my way up. Like, you just have to stop panicking and then like notice like the bubbles are going this way and just kind of let yourself come up and float up. When I got up to the top, my besties were there. They're like, that bitch, let's go fight her. But that's a whole separate story. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when you're in the water, let's say and you're upside down, to you, up is down, down is up. How do you orient yourself in all of this? So that's what I look at astrology as. It's more of an orientation. It's like a map as opposed to it being a belief system. Like, I don't believe in the moon. I don't worship the sun. I do worship the sun, actually. I do love the sun a lot. But I just mean it's more about like, oh, for example, we have a full moon, a Libra pink full moon on April Fool's coming up. What that's going to mean for all of us on a subconscious level is this feeling of, so Libra is all about relationships because we're heading towards like Aries season, right? And the Aries is about like, and yes, as above, so below, Cullen, you got it. Thank you. And you know, the web's got a lot of esoteric juiciness in it. You guys know, right? If Indra's web, how reality works, the bubbles of reality and how they interact, right? Like, I have my own universe and world, but as a bubble, it gets to interact with your universe and bubble and world. And together we can have shared parts of that world and then also parts that, it's like your own house in like spiritual street, and like the more communal area is like the playground, right? So that also exists in your consciousness and your imagination world as well. Yeah, it is Aries time. Yeah, we did already get into Aries season. Holy cow, time is going like crazy, you guys. So back to the full moon thing for you guys in terms of navigation. Libra is all about relationships, right? Oh, lion sign. Hello, Trips. And thank you for the star goggles, Trips. It's like almost like stargazing together with the star guzzle. So Libra relationships, also ruled by Venus. I'm a Taurus. I don't know if you guys want to drop your astrology. I love looking even at comic books interfacing with all of those symbolic ways of looking at the world as well, right? Because if you know those stories that power astrology, like symbology of the moon, symbology of like different colors, symbology of like timing of things, all that, it informs also how you read anything, how you look at art, how you watch movies, all of that. Rachel hates air signs the most. That I'm married to an air sign. But I do like, I'm also a Gemini moon. So my moon sign is actually in an air sign. So for you guys, like Dandy Moneyman in the chat, he's my birthday twin. So just because you're of the same sign and even have the same birth date, there's all this other stuff that goes on that informs how unique you are. It's the beautiful dichotomy of like, you are you, uniquely you, only you, and you are the whole universe. And you're also me. So how does that work, right? Because we play a lovely game of pretend, right? It's like when, if you guys have ever done theater or a skit with your friends and you make up a whole play, right? And then you play as characters in that, right? But you know what's going to happen. But when you're playing, you play as if you don't know, right? So that's what this is like. Yeah, you. Because it's a Gemini. I have a lot of Gemini friends, you know, it's sometimes a little too smart for your own good, air signs. That's that. You are you. Yes. You are you. Oh, I love you too. And that's a message from all of the goddesses. I'm her only Aquarius. That's not, you know what? I actually have an Aquarius friend, but she's female. And I look at Aquarius, so I actually have a placement in Aquarius. So you guys, if I recommend you guys go on an astrology calculator. So tomorrow, your homework, look at where each of your planets sit. Just out of curiosity, it's a beautiful thing to know yourself, right? And just to be like, aha, that's why I'm like this. So like my Jupiter is located in Aquarius. What that usually means is like your Jupiter placement is Zeus, right? It's like he's the great benefactor. He's a very, in astrology, very lucky and benevolent, rules Sagittarius, that kind of stuff. I am not doing that homework well. It's okay, Gwen Stacy. All right, have a good one. Okay, so you're a Leo. I'm not going to go, we're going to do astrology tomorrow, but that'll be the day show. So my day shows, I'm going to try to do not specifically astrology content, but more just like the context to like the cosplay. And don't forget to vote. But it's good to know, you guys, things like your Mercury sign. So Mercury Hermes, right? How you communicate. My Mercury is in Aries. And so is my Venus. My Venus and Mercury are actually very close together. They're like besties in the same sign. So in your own chart, you're going to have these different interplays of the different planets that exist. So it's like knowing in your own chart, like, Pokey, do you know what your moon sign is? Out of just curiosity? So for example, I have a girlfriend of mine, her moon is in Aquarius, but she's a Scorpio. That combination is so intense because Scorpios are very like emotional, and Aquariuses can be aloof, right? And almost Aquarius is like the person who's like, I can have an eagle eye view of everything that's going on, but I don't necessarily want to be like so close and up and personal with everybody all the time, right? Pink cheese moon. It is based on the date. The moon moves every 2 hours, so it's good to know your timing. If you don't know exact time, that is okay. Yes. I mean, we can probably narrow it down. I'll look it up for you, Pokey. I'll find out for you. But good thing to note if you don't do anything else, just whatever your moon sign is. Why do I bring that up? So when you think about new moons and full moons, those two interactions are really a dance between the sun and the moon, right? So when you have a new moon, the sun and the moon are in the same sign. So if you're a new moon baby, if you're born under a new moon, you're also going to be imprinted with those energies, right? Blue moon. Oh yeah. I love blue moons. Make a wish on blue moons, babies. Where was I going with? Oh, yes. And then full moon is when you have the sun and the moon are in opposite signs, which is why when we have the full moon coming up in Libra, it's because the sun is in Aries, right? So when you think of oppositions in charts, it's like two wings of a bird, right? It's not, the opposite is also you. It's a weird thing. Like, you don't have light without dark. You don't have light without shadow. You don't have something without the not thing to foil it, right? It's just like when you draw, you don't have an image until you like have the contrast between the two things, right? So yeah, it's a weird like if you think about it too much, you're like, wait a minute, what? But in the opposition, you find your mirror, right? So Taurus opposition is Scorpio, right? So that's intense sometimes. Aquarius, oh my gosh. What is Aquarius's opposition? I usually know this. This is bad. Leo. It's Leo. I knew it. Yes. Yes. Okay. So Leo is very much like the spotlight. Yes. And the spotlight natural leader. And it's not to say that Aquarius wouldn't be that. It's just that Aquarius is more concerned with larger social issues. So that being said, let's get into the read, because otherwise I'm never going to read anything. And I did really want to get into this specific read of Civil War tonight. Hi, Austin. Welcome. Peter Parker. Hi. So funny seeing you here. I hope you're doing well. And Zono X, I do love Leos a lot. Yeah. So big thing for you guys, just try to look at your moon sign and then see how your sun and moon relate to each other. Do they create an angle with each other? Are they opposing each other? Do they like each other? Or do they maybe inside your more main personality and your inner subconscious, there just can be a bit more synergy between the two? And just knowing that about yourself is just maybe enough to do that, right? Who knows? Yes, everyone is sleeping, my friends, including my little poop ahead, my little wolfy dog who's at my feet right now. Maybe took forever for me to... Okay, so let's get into the read, my friends. I'm reading you guys Amazing Spider-Man, a Marvel Comics event, Civil War. The movie did, I think, a great job, actually, of capturing the vibe of this story. So to get you up to speed, if you're not familiar, Civil War is basically speaking to the fact that the superhero team is fighting against itself, right? You have Tony Stark. So I'll take you up to like on last episode of the Cosmic Comic Book Club. We had Peter Parker, right? MJ, Aunt May. Basically, Peter Parker is talking to them about how he's like having a really hard time trying to make a decision. Oh, thank you, Tripsonel. Much love. So what has happened is there have been too many, let's say, casualties of what the interactions between the villains and the superheroes in this world, right? Cities have been falling apart. Everything is like exploding because you're dealing with like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So what has happened here is that the government has made a call and they create a Superhero Registration Act. Now, what this act asks, right, is for all masked heroes, I forget where it was put, they ask for all masked heroes, good or bad, doesn't matter, to register with the government. What a crazy thing. Like, can you imagine if you were like a villain? Yeah, I'm just gonna register. I'm Thanos. I kind of do death. Like, it's a funny thing. So the government's like, okay, because of all of like, you know, the collateral, that was the word I was trying to find, collateral damage, casualties, all this stuff because of like the superheroes versus like whatever the heck it is you're doing. You claim that you're helping us, but there's all this fallout. And so, I don't know if Thanos counts. Yeah, I mean, actually, the way that Tony explains it is that if you wear a mask, you need to register. And if you don't register, you're going to be considered an enemy of the state. And they will hunt you down. They'll take away all your assets, and they'll take away your friends and family. They'll treat you just like if you were like a villain if you don't register. What an interesting thing, right? So Tony and Peter go to see the President of the United States. And Tony goes in to meet him, has like a meeting. And he comes back to Peter. And he tells Peter, so the President of the United States asked me who Iron Man was. And Peter's like, well, what did you tell him? And Tony goes like, well, he was the president, Peter. So I told him the truth. I told him I was Iron Man. And Peter's like, what? What the fuck? Why'd you do that? And then at this point, Tony explains the act, what's going to happen, right? So he then asks for a decision from Peter, which I will reread, I think, out to you guys. I do like how this is illustrated as well. War at home, Spider-Man. Oh yeah, and this does his little press conference. Oh yeah, and he reveals himself. Actually, maybe we'll read that because I don't think I actually read that to you specifically. But that's a good way to kind of start. Here we go. I'll just read what Tony says because I'm explaining it properly. We'll jump really quickly into it. We live in a time when everyone has had to make sacrifices of their privacy. Wiretaps, surveillance, random searches at airports. Did you really think we would be immune to that for long after what happened in Stanford? I've told the flight crew to take you back to New York. Oh, you're not coming? I can't. I have another meeting with the president after he signs the Registration Act. Peter, I'm standing behind the registration. I know this is a big step for you. My pilot has instructions to pick you up if you want to stand by me. And if not, not. Goodbye, Peter. So it leaves Peter with like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And he goes back to Aunt May and tells them the whole situation. Aunt May basically wants him to register and be out with it. MJ, I think, kind of gets it. But in the end, they're just going to support him no matter what, because that's what it is, right? I don't know, Aunt May. Why? Because their loved ones want it that way. Because they would rather die than see the face they love, the face that gives so much to the world, be covered in shame. Some things are worth the risk, Peter, and you are one of them. Thank you, Patrick. MJ, do something. Talk some sense into her. Peter, she'll listen to you. I know it. She's right. Don't run. Stand your ground. Let the whole world understand why we love you more than life itself. So MJ and Aunt May are basically they're basically they're basically saying to Peter that they don't care. They want you to like register, remove the mask, all that kind of stuff. So it's true. The Fantastic Four, they all know. Like, I feel like in Marvel, they're more known, right? Like, it is not the biggest deal, I guess, to have their identities known. There are not as many characters, I think, in the DC universe that are the same. Okay. So that's where we kind of left off. And we have Spider-Man basically coming out on Tony's side at this point, right? So he says, "Hi, good morning. Thank you for coming. I'm standing here today because I have an announcement to make." What's that announcement? He removes the mask. My name is Peter Parker, and I've been Spider-Man since I was 15 years old. For years, he started at 15, wow. For years, I wondered what would happen if I ever said those words out loud for the whole world to hear. Now, at the urging of Tony Stark, and to show my support for the superhuman, that's what they're calling it, the Superhuman Registration Act, I've done just that. And as I stand before a stunned press, oh my gosh, as I stand in front of a stunned press court, I wonder what next. Ta-da! Go around to the kids' table. So he basically comes out. Now, things escalate at this point, right? So we basically have Tony. I'm going to skip ahead a tiny bit here. Tony's on one side, and then Captain America does not agree with the Superhuman Registration Act. So that's the Civil War, right? You have Team Iron Man and Team Cap, and they go to war against each other when really they're bigger bad guys. That should be there. Oh, have a good night, Colleen. No, def not. So essentially, Spider-Man has his like Spidey suit, and he fights Cap at first, right? But there is a turning point. Let's see here. Oh, yes. I'm going to actually read you a point where he talks to Reed Richards. So the Registration Act goes forward, right? And I think it's Tony, Ms. Marvel, Spider-Man, I forget who else is on the side of like Iron Man and the registration, versus like the renegades who don't want to register, like Captain America and friends. Now, at this point, they start to arrest people. This starts to cause a moral conundrum for, oh yeah, I do love this version. This version of the spider suit, by Tony is wonderful. High tech, gorgeous. But of course, it came with a price, right? He had to, I'm going to try to find it. I'll read it in just a second. Let's jump right in like it's a dream. Here we go. But because they're putting them in prison and they're not giving them a fair trial, which is giving like Peter like the heebie-jeebies, being like, wait a minute, am I on the wrong side? So here, so Iron Man here's like they've imprisoned a bunch of the superheroes, right? Help me. And Peter is having a bit of an issue with the way this is going. So if you had notions of some kind of inhumane gulag or a dark, dark prison dripping sludge and human misery, you are mistaken. Well, as an interim solution, yeah, as in temporary. I'm sure you've heard the word before. It's in the dictionary. You could look it up. So sassy, Peter. I love it. Oh, TJ, thank you. This isn't temporary, Peter. This isn't interim. This is permanent. Get with the program. Tony, what are you saying? The words are all in the dictionary. You can look it up. These people are here for life unless they register. Dun, 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 the ultimatum. But if they don't, and then he's right back at him in his face, you can't put an atomic bomb on probation. You can't put somebody who flies under house arrest. Okay, so fair enough. It's real simple, Peter. They either sign up or they stay here until they do sign up. And if they never sign up, then they stay here for the rest of their natural lives. Do you get it, Peter? Do you get it? Do you? And then Peter looks back at him and says, take off the helmet. And then tell me that again when I can see your face. And then Tony says, Do you think I like this, Peter? Do you think I worked my whole life to become someone's jailer? I hate this, Peter. I hate every minute of it. I hate everything about it. I haven't had a good night's sleep in weeks. But we have no choice. We have to follow the law. And Peter fires back at him saying, following the law means these people get a trial before you send them away to be imprisoned for the rest of their lives. You can't just lock people away, Tony. Yes, we can. And we have. That's the end of it. Whoa. And so it's at this point that Peter's like, this is bleeped, right? Because that's really the conundrum. And like, it's through Peter Parker, it's through Spider-Man being on Iron Man's side, seeing what's happening, trying to do the right thing, follow the law, follow the rules, what you think is right. But what happens when this is the reality? They're literally putting superhumans away in prison and saying you're never going to come out unless you register. Doesn't exactly sound like the good guys, does it? Right? So at this point, Peter's like, good for him standing up to Tony and being like, what the heck, right? And then later, well, not later, Tony's basically thinks that's the end of the conversation, right? He puts his helmet back on. But She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters, she's in court every day defending these guys, making motions. Well, she can make all the motions she wants. This is outside the jurisdiction of the local and federal courts. This is an act of Congress signed by the president. Only the Supreme Court can intervene, and I happen to know that they won't. This place is not of American soil. American laws don't touch here. American lawyers won't come here. Oh dear, it's like Guantanamo Bay. It's like you're off in some like superhero camp thing. But then again, think about how like, you know, all those movies of gifted children who get put in government little weird basements and experiments and stuff. Government not your friend. So like I think there's a big like realization here. Yeah, so like I think Peter's like, oh, had enough of it. So he's having some issues now, like having some like moral issues, right, about what side he's on, and he goes to talk to Reed Richards. Oh, homemade pizza. I made homemade pizza dough the other day, you guys, and I put like barbecue chicken on it, right, some cheese, tomato sauce, little like basil, onions. It's good. Love it. And you know what, when you make dough from scratch, I was so pumped with how good it actually turned out. So yo, like quick note, when you're rising your bread, play good music. It like infuses the bread with your like vibes, right? Also, yeah, like when you go buy bread from bread shops, like my friend Joanne, she's like has a bakery down on Queen Street. Well, that's not her bakery, she works there, but it's a thing, like when you're working bread or whatever you're making, like whatever good vibes you're thinking about, hopefully go into the food. And also if you're like angry, maybe wait. Maybe play some games first. So Peter had that whole interaction with Iron Man, didn't go well, right? So he's like, okay, this is kind of mess. He's going to talk to Reed Richards. So I believe Reed Richards is with Tony, and Human Torch is on Cap's side. I think that's how it works. How funny is that, right? Because Chris Evans played both of them. They're on the same team. Oh, thanks, Alex. Pride. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to go a couple more panels. So he talks to Reed, and Reed says this. Oh, yeah, here. Reed? Yeah? Can I ask you a question? Sure. Why? And Reed says, why? It's hard to explain. No, that's easy. That's a lie. It's easy to explain. I just tend not to. Not many people know it because, well, I don't talk about it a lot. But I had, an uncle. Uncle Ted, my father's older brother. My father was a very driven man, and not always the kindest. He pushed me to become what I am. But Uncle Ted, he was funny, he was accepting, and he used to take me up the street twice a week for ice cream and talks about the world. Unlike the rest of the family, he wasn't a scientist. He was a writer. He found everyone interesting. He talked to strangers, wear the wrong colored socks, and ate at strange little restaurants. My Uncle Ted was an eccentric. He was funny and colorful, and I loved him. But he was also stubborn and didn't care for rules, and if you pushed him, he would push back just as hard. And unfortunately, this was when Joe McCarthy and the House Un-American Activities Committee was in full bloom, looking for communists among the military, the government, and the arts. I actually watched The Majestic with Jim Carrey, which actually kind of dealt with this whole situation too, right? Where they're looking for commies everywhere kind of thing. If you stood out, if you didn't conform, you had a better than ever chance of being called before the committee. And my Uncle Ted was all of those things. And so he was subpoenaed to appear before HUAC and explain himself, to testify, to tell them that he wasn't a communist, to name the names of those he thought might be communists. I've never actually read the transcripts of what he told the committee, but my mother used to say she was surprised the stenographer machines didn't burst into flame. But he summed it all up pretty well in his concluding sentence. "Go to hell," he told them. They held him in contempt of Congress for 6 months, and when he got out, his career was over. Nobody would hire him, buy his stories, or answer his phone calls. Even my own father refused to let him come around. He lost his life savings, his home, and in the end, and then Reed looks away. In the end, it killed him. "It sounds like your uncle was a very brave guy," says Peter. "You're missing the point, Peter. He was wrong. He picked a fight he couldn't win. And whether HUAC was right or wrong or wasn't, it wasn't the point. It was the law. Take away the law, and what are we? Savages, up to our necks in blood. And that's why we give the law the authority to take everything away from us if we break it by murdering or kidnapping or by..." Oh my gosh, Wolfie, go on. There you go. Always, always, Wolfie. He almost knocked over. So I'm assuming, Alex, the way that Reed is telling the story about his Uncle Ted, more than likely Uncle Ted unalived himself due to the fact that, like, yeah, but baby brother's coming over there. Yeah, coming to dreamland with you guys. So because Peter is struggling now to be okay with what he's doing for the government. Yeah, Uncle Ted does need some help. Yeah, it is dark, right? On a comic book, too. But you know what? If we think about what happened back then, some of the old movies and the old science fiction stories, they do deal with, like, you know, the big witch hunt that kind of happened for people that they thought that were, like, communists, right? And so it's interesting how they, like, brought that into this situation, right? And because Peter's like, I feel like we're doing something bad here. We're, like, imprisoning people without a trial, that kind of thing. And, like, so why? Like, why is this okay? And Reed's basically saying, like, he say things he doesn't... Well, it's possible. But, you know, artists, right? Anyways, see here. Or simply telling powerful men to go to hell. You just can't tell powerful people in power, go F yourself, as much as we want to, unfortunately. So this is what Reed tells Peter. If the law is the law, Peter, the law is the law, Peter, I support it because I honestly believe we have to support it no matter what. And Peter says, but what if the law is wrong? Right? Then eventually it'll be changed in an orderly, lawful way. We can't just obey the laws we like or time to go. Right. I think I would have liked your uncle, Reed. I think I would have liked him a lot. But you loved him. And then he leaves. Oh, that's a really, that story. So going further, Peter's still struggling with his moral conundrum. And then we end up with like probably my favorite part in all of comic books, right? Where he, right, our Human Torch gives a little calling card because Captain America's side becomes aware that perhaps Spider-Man wants to defect, right? So it's like, hey, Spidey, call me. Left a little message in the sky for you. And so he does. So I'm going to read you like my favorite part. Let's see. It's possible, Steve. And you know it's possible. And so Spidey comes, meets up with Cap. They look each other down. And Cap says to Spidey, that was a very brave thing you did there. Thanks. Very foolish, but brave. So, was it the wrong thing to do? And that's the biggest question, right? Where it's like, what is wrong and what is right? And what do you do when the law and things that are supposed to be on the side of good and right are now doing things that are in conflict with what you know in your heart are wrong? What do you do, right? So, there's not a right answer. That's the thing, or a completely wrong answer. There's only multiple choices of what you can do, right? This is an older comic book. This is Civil War, you guys, right? So if you watch the movie, is pretty faithful to it. I'm going to read you a part from the movie, which I thought was done beautifully, but this is the panel that inspired it, right? It's like, and I feel like we need to hear it because I have like turned to my inner Captain America because my inner animus, like, you know, like Carl Jung has said, inside of every woman, there is an inner masculine that she has to understand before she can relate to any man outside, right? And my inner masculine is Steve Rogers. Is Captain America, 100%. Like, my inner boy is that. Like, it doesn't mean that my lover or like who, like that's who I would marry, let's say. But like, if I were a boy, I would be Captain America kind of thing. Yeah. I didn't know that. Jackpot's a cool name. She is the jackpot. Because, like, did you know they just hit the jackpot, Tiger? That kind of thing. Love it. Okay, and it's from 2005. I almost feel like it was from earlier, but that does track. So if I was 10 in 2005, I was 20. I was 10 in 1995. I was 20 when this came out. So that was a hard time in my life. Really hard time. You know, like transitioning from being, you know, high school into like university and then, you know, trying to prep to go into the world. And a lot of disillusionment happened at that time. So same kind of thing, like, who are you kind of thing. Hi, Melkarthos. Welcome to the read. We are reading Civil War, and we're getting to my favorite part. Let's do it. So, says Spidey, come here often? So he's talking. I'm just going to continue. I already read this. That was a very brave thing you did. Thanks. Foolish, but brave. So, was it the wrong thing to do? Oh, I didn't say that. But it does put you at even greater risk. I had to get a message out to the people So they would understand what was going on. Except, of course, says Cap, that the media ignored everything about the prison and spent all their time talking about how you were challenging the government. They've got you pegged as a Benedict Arnold and a traitor to the American cause. Ah, they've been saying a lot worse about you lately. I know. So Spidey says to Cap, how do you deal with it? I've seen that look before. You've got a story, don't you? Peter. Come on, Grandpa Steve, tell us a story. When the whole country is against you, when it's all bearing down on you like some kind of 10-ton weight, and you don't know your own heart anymore sometimes, how does someone like you deal with it? I mean, you practically are the country. How does the man who is the country react when the country goes a different way? And Cap looks at him. Do you really want to know? I don't want to know, Cap. I need to know. I love him. He's so big and buff, too, in these panels, too. I remember the first time I really understood what it was to be an American, what it was to be a patriot. I was just a kid, and that would be a million years ago, because we all know Steve Rogers is basically like a 90-year-old man because of the cryo and all that stuff. So this is a really long time ago, right? I do love the R2 Zona X, right? And I do love how, like, just in comic books, too, like, this is a flashback sequence, right? Because it's sepia. You just know that because it's encoded in the comic book already, right? So just in case you don't know, this is a flashback sequence as he's, like, monologuing it. I'm trying to do my Cap voice. Give me a sec. I was just a kid. A million years ago, it seems sometimes maybe 12, I was reading Mark Twain. And he wrote something that struck me right down to my core. Something so powerful, so true, that it changed my life. So I memorized it, so I could repeat it to myself over and over across the years. He wrote, in a republic, who is the country? Thank you, Angel Martinez. Is it the government which is for the moment in the saddle? Why, government is merely a temporary servant. It cannot be its prerogative to determine what is right and what is wrong, and decide who is a patriot and who is not. Its function is to obey orders, not originate them. Who then is the country? Is it the newspaper? Is it the pulpit? Why, these are mere parts of the country, not the whole of it. They have not command. They have only their little share in the command. In a monarchy, the king and his family are the country. In a republic, it is the common voice of the people. Each of you, for himself, by himself, and on his own responsibility, must speak. It is a solemn and mighty and weighty responsibility, and not lightly to be flung aside at the bullying of pulpit, press, government, or the empty catchphrases of politicians. Each must decide for himself alone what is right and what is wrong, and which course is patriotic and which is not. You cannot shirk this responsibility and be a man. To decide it against your convictions is to be an unqualified and inexcusable traitor, both to yourself and to your country. Let men label you as they may. If you alone of all the nation shall decide one way, and that way be the right way, according to your convictions of the right, then you have done your duty by yourself and by your country. Hold your head up high. You have nothing to be ashamed of. Indeed. Oh, and here it is. This gorgeous panel. Oh, it doesn't matter what the press says. It doesn't matter what the politicians or the mob say. It doesn't matter if the whole country decides that something is wrong when something is right. This nation was founded on one principle above all else: the requirement that we stand up for what we believe, no matter the odds or the consequences. When the mob and the press and the whole world tell you to move, it is your job to plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth and tell the whole damn world, no, you move. Love it. So good. And like, he's talking to Peter here, right? And Peter's looking up at him just like in awe. And he says, can I like carry your books to school for like the rest of my life? Oh, come on. Time to get you back to the rest of the group. I mean it. I can even give you my lunch. My Aunt May makes great sandwiches. Again. Makes tuna sandwiches again. And so this is now the inner monologue. And as I run towards the edge of the roof, off the edge of what I've known and into the darkness of whatever's coming, beside the one hero who will never betray his convictions, never betray those who follow him. And I think, where's this breaking? It feels good to be on the right side again. Oh, I've always wanted to read that out loud. I do need to read that as like me in like my female cap form, like, because that. So I'm going to end it here just because it does get pretty dark going forward. So you can kind of see here who's on like Team Cap's side, right? And then they do go into a battle, right? Like that's the Civil War battle, right? You got Venom even fighting. Oh, jeez. Okay. And then, of course, like Cap going blow to blow against Iron Man. And remember, this is a Spider-Man comic book. I did not realize that Civil War was a Spidey read, right? But it does end really, like, I'm not going to ruin it. I almost don't want to, because remember, before going with Cap, he did reveal himself, so people know who he is. So they're, of course, going to come after MJ and Aunt May. And we lose Aunt May, right? Even in the movies, it does happen. So it's the price, too, I guess, right? And I think also, too, Mary. Oh, I do love the name Mary as well, because I think Mary, if you translate it, it means rebel. So to all the rebels right there, right? And also, this is, I've been trying to find this. This is the Ms. Marvel I'm talking about from before, right? That's a good view of her. But I do have a cosplay of her and Captain America, Carol Danvers, and we can talk a little bit more about the Marvels another time. But thank you guys for joining me for this read of Civil War as Spider-Woman, or at least in this version, let's call me MJ. Putting on my spider mask because I do love myself, some Spider-Man. And I wonder if I wanted to continue this, or rather do more of a deep dive of it, because this story is really important to me. TBD on that. But tomorrow, for sure, I do have a schedule that I'm going to be posting on when you're going to get the next reads because we do have the Cosmic Comic Book Club starting, and so I'm aligning it with the full moon and the moon cycle. So stay tuned for all of that. The full moon's coming on the 1st, so I'm going to be doing an April O'Neil reading. I might do The Last Ronin. We'll see, but that's so dark, you guys. So I may try to find a bit like a lighter read. Like I like doing the crossovers between Batman and the Ninja Turtles. Those are fun. Because I love portals, you know. So we'll probably source that, but that for sure on April 1st, we'll have April O'Neil to ring that in. Hey, we adults, we handle dark stuff. You know what? So, but you know what? I find with lots of reads, you do need to like balance out the amount of like heavy end of the fabric of reality kind of situations versus like more like lighter ones like Birds of Prey where they're like, oh, let's go to Paris and like stop the bad guy from like using the weather machine against us, right? So or like just like, you know, in episodes like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, rest in power, Xander, Nicholas Brendan. That was a sad news, right? Vagabond. Oh yes, I'm going to make a note of that. And also too, any stories you want me to read live in cosplay, I do expand my repertoire past comic books, although I love comic books the most. They're my favorite. I do love reading just regular books too, and other books as well. So I think in all these different stories that we find resonance with, when we introduce each other to things that perhaps we're like, oh wow, I didn't even know about that yet, it also informs stuff that you have read in the past, right? Like Promethea, for example, which was written by Alan Moore, that whole series was a gift to me. I didn't even know about Promethea till a girlfriend of mine gifted it to me. So, and then I read it, and Alan Moore has been the author of many stories that I love in the DC universe, but he actually wrote some stuff for Marvel too, right? He actually really likes Ant-Man because Ant-Man deals with like the quantum realm and, you know, as above, so below, if you think about the cosmos, things at that scale and the quantum realm, like an atomic scale, they're going to mirror each other too, right? So, yes. Yeah, exactly. And they did kind of like almost try to shoehorn him into like the live action, which is interesting because he's so part of like the original. I think it's like the Wasp who actually names the Avengers. Don't quote me on that. I love that you love this conversation, Alex Bart. I can do this forever, but I got my mask on late. So thank you guys for joining me for this debut of this version, right? Oh, did you, Gwen Stacy? I'm going to go back up. Oh, yes, Ghostbusters, of course, my girlie. Of course we'll do Ghostbusters. My hubby really loves Ghostbusters. And I've like, I do feel like there was a time in that era where like ghosts and dealing with the more supernatural was like a thing, right? Dr. Doom was here. He was giant. Yeah, exactly. So you know what? This will continue on Monday. We'll do Ms. Marvel. We'll do Marvel Monday. Kind of just decided now. And then on Tuesday, it'll be Supergirl. All right, guys, I'm done. See you all next time. Remember, it takes true courage to be exactly you in the cosmic game of life. So please play as exactly you, because guess what? The universe is counting on you. But I have your back. Until next time, you guys, have a great night. Have a good weekend if I don't see you then. Bye.